Hello, and welcome to the Ask the Pastor video podcast. I'm Kent Bertrand, pastor of the Bridge Church in Gilbert, Arizona. The purpose of these podcasts is to answer some of the questions that you have about the Christian faith. I remind you at the beginning of this, as I always do, that it is never the job of any pastor or spiritual leader to think for you. It is the job of any pastor or spiritual leader to encourage you to read the Bible and pray in the power of the Spirit to think for yourself. Therefore, I invite you to listen and interact with what I say on our group page, Bridge Church Arizona, found on Facebook. Today's question is very simple. People ask me, how do I know that the Christian faith is true? Well, there's many things I could say about this, and I could spend hours, but that won't be a very interesting podcast. So I'll just bring up two things really briefly, and then I invite you to interact or ask more questions if you'd like to talk about something in more detail. I'll talk about kind of an objective way and a subjective way that I know that the Christian faith is true. Objectively, I know it's true because there's one thing about the Christian faith that stands out as a historical fact for me, and that is the fact that Jesus rose from the dead. See, it says in 1 Corinthians 15 that if Jesus didn't rise from the dead, then our faith is useless, and that's really true. Our faith is not just a great idea or even a neat set of principles. You know, you take someone like Confucius, who had some great ideas about wisdom and respect, but if you take him out of the equation, his ideas of wisdom and respect still stand. You don't need Confucius. But Jesus is different. Jesus is different because he is the center of what we do, because what he did by coming, dying on the cross, and rising from the dead is essential to knowing God and essential to understanding the Christian faith. Therefore, you can't just remove him. Whether or not he rose from the dead really matters. And I think it's clear historically that he really did. Simply because I believe A, there is no body, and B, there is no better explanation for how the body was gone than the fact he was resurrected. Without going into further detail, let me just point you to several books, or I'll point you to one book right here, Lee Strobel's The Case for Christ. Lee Strobel was the former legal editor of the Chicago Tribune, has a law degree from Yale, and did research on this as an atheist, became a believer, and writes in his book, The Case for Christ, about that journey, including information about why he believes the resurrection is true. Also, William Lane Craig is another great author that deals with the resurrection. That's kind of objective reasons why I believe in the Christian faith, but also, and really as important for me, is just the difference it's made in my life. I have discovered from knowing God a relationship with him that is A, transformed who I am, but B, really made a difference in how I understand myself. He is a creation of God who's made in his image and created for a destiny to love and serve others. Those things come because of the faith I have, and that relationship with God that I experience and the difference it makes in my life is testimony to me every day that Jesus is real, and the testimony of others who've begun a relationship with God. And I encourage you to ask people who know God what difference Jesus has made in their life, because I think through that you'll see the difference he can make in anyone's life. So my own testimony, having begun a relationship with God, as well as the testimony of the resurrection, are just two reasons why I believe that Christianity is true. I'd love to hear your feedback or thoughts, agree or disagree. Contact me on my Facebook group page, Bridge Church Arizona. For the Bridge Church, I'm Kent Bertrand. Thank you and God bless.